This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so happy Friday, everyone. Today is Friday, January 10th. I cannot believe we are already at the 10th. We have about a third of our month already taken care of. And so far, it's been absolutely wonderful. Our afternoons have been giving us, a few different types of trades, and our mornings have been pretty phenomenal. And coming into this morning, we have a pretty long list as well. So first thing looking at is SIX, Six Flags Entertainment. So one thing that we're looking at as we've been coming down, I know the orders are extremely thin, but overall 619,000 shares. The bigger prints have really not been there, besides for what we've been seeing is pretty much what looks like covering. So basically what I'm expecting is this thing to kind of test a little bit further down to that 35 area before we end up seeing this thing pop back up. Because if we look at the actual levels themselves, you can see 38, a little bit of covering there, 37, a little bit of covering, and then 36, and we're not really seeing too much new selling coming into this. So overall, I would really expect them to try to test a little bit of 35, considering the fact that we've already got this far down here. And then from there, definitely expecting us to see a pretty substantial pull-up based off of the covering that we've been seeing pretty much at every single level. So overall, without any type of new selling coming in, I'm not expecting this thing to go down much further, besides the fact that, once again, we're right by that 35. So it really would make sense to kind of bring it down a little bit just to test the market, see what retail is going to do there. And then from there, coming back up, because like I said, just not seeing as much new selling as we would need for us to really be able to continue. Next thing looking at is SAVA, S-A-V-A. All right, so we know that we have buying up there around that 9 level and then coming into that 10. So we certainly still have the opportunity for us to kind of break out. The only thing about it, though, is that the volume is just not really what I would like to see. Again, I mean, 231,000 shares, that's just really not enough. And we can see what it actually jumped up on isn't really much at all. So I don't really have too much confidence in it really holding up here, just based off the fact that there's just not much volume that's coming in. But at the same time, we definitely have our buying that came in around 850, 875. We can see we still have some prints. And once again, like I said, coming up towards that 10 level, we have some buying up there as well. So really need to see something more come in. Otherwise, once the market opens, we're going to see this kind of just get real choppy and not really do too much. So really need that volume. And then overall, like I said, we definitely have that buying up above. So coming down, I would love to see it hold this. The second trigger that came in at that 850, holding that 850 and then triggering back up, we have the buying up above that we need. TRIL. So I'm a little bit I liked it a lot better earlier before it started coming down this hard. And just coming back up and looking at the actual buying that we have a little bit that's at 360-ish, a little bit at around that 350 level. But not as much, once again, as I really would like to see. I mean, over 3, in the aftermarket, we could, the aftermarket, real early in the morning, we definitely got, some good prints that kind of pushed it back up, but I'm not seeing the buying around the highs that I really would like to. So overall, 325, I mean, we kind of got the push that we would have expected from it. So we're going to need some type of new buying to come in order for us to even come close to being able to push back towards that 370. We have a little bit, but not as much as we would like to see, especially around this 350. I would have loved to see a lot more controlling print. So it looked a lot better. It's almost like a sideless stock at this point. If it breaks past this 320 point, and then right here where we had this original price action that came in, where we could see our low right there is 314. So I really would like to see it hold on to this trigger right here in order for us to be able to come back up, get some type of trigger back towards the top side. But like I said, I'm just not happy with the buying that's up above. BYND. So we made we got that aftermarket move, that overnight type move, kind of push this thing up after 4 o'clock. But this morning, I haven't seen as much as I would have liked to either. You could see 93.50-ish right in that area. We have some decent buying there, but just once again, the highs, just not seeing a lot of, I mean, it's almost all buying that we've seen this morning in the bigger print side of things. But overall, just not, once again, I just don't have that great feeling, that great show of hand that's coming in to say that, okay, this, 91, let's hold here, let's trigger back up. Just don't see the prints there for that yet. But overall, I mean, we know that we have saw a ton of buying. 95 would have made a lot more sense to kind of push back towards, but I'm not shocked that they didn't do that during the pre-market because it's really not a great time to be able to test what retail is going to do. So overall, would love to see it hold right here, right, that 90.75, right, where we could see this that consolidation that came in and then jumped up from there. But overall, once again, we have the buying to really get a lot higher than that 95 level, at least towards that 95. It's just going to be a matter of giving us some type of actual show of hand and actual controlling prints. We definitely have more buying than selling coming in this morning, but need those controlling prints. SRNE, next one on our list. So this is a beautiful looking stock right now. We can see it jumped up, and I'm not happy with the volume that it jumped up on. 82,000 shares that early isn't terrible at all, but you know, such a cheap stock, and really to be able to break and hold above that 5 level, I really like to see a lot more come into it. But if we look at the actual prints themselves, it's not terrible at all. 510, beautiful show of hand. We have 5, which, you know, basically showed us that we really should pull down a little bit more before we see any type of real move back up towards that double top. And then underneath there, you can see, I mean, it's just, we're getting the buying, just no buying really at those highs, no real bigger buying coming in around those highs. So that's always something that I really want to see, especially with these cheaper stocks. When we sit there at that 5 and, you know, we have holding this consolidation, it's the perfect variables for what we need for a cheaper stock. But I really would love to see some type of actual buying up at those highs for us to be able to trigger up to. And at that point, it's really just not there. A lot of selling at 5. I didn't see that. 510 coming into, okay. But overall, still has the buying, and you know, based off of the variables that we have, we wanted to hold this 5, and then once again, like I said, I really would have loved to see more buying coming up towards that top side of things, so the trigger could actually go up towards something. It disappeared now. Of the turn change now with the buying above. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I mean, overall, not, you know, we're going to expect to see some type of selling coming in at that 5, but we do have the buying. Like I said, it's just, you know, once again with these cheaper stocks, I love to see buying at the highs, and we just don't have that there. But overall, like I said, holding that consolidation, it's got all the variables that we need. Really would like to see it hold right here, coming down to that 475. So 475 is going to be the number that we want to see it that stay up above. PTLA, another one this morning. We have a huge list. Well, not really huge, but a big list. So this isn't a huge mover. On average, trades about $1, but we could see 1.1 million shares already be traded coming into the morning. 1450, we could see some type of covering that was coming into there before. Once we got, you know, to that point and it came back up. But again, 1498, that's another nice spot where we saw somebody come in and cover, which is kind of a weird spot because it would make more sense for that to be buying than covering, because why would someone cover once it breaks past that 15 point? So overall, 15 ask prints. I mean, it definitely, it almost reminds me a little bit of 6, where we're just seeing a lot of covering coming in. But of, you know, what actually started it off, we could see right here is that coming into the aftermarket yesterday, we can see these 15 prints. These selling prints that came in at about 5:30, which is a very odd time. You know, obviously the stock took a huge plummet from that 25 level down, but we did get some new selling, but that was from yesterday, and this morning I'm seeing a lot more covering than I am seeing new selling coming in. So in order for us to really be able to take any type of move towards that downside, we're going to have to see new selling. And if we don't see that new selling, that 15 level is not going to hold underneath, and we're going to be expecting it to come right back up above. And then LK. So LK made a huge move, considering, you know, it moves $1.81 on average. We went from 44 to 47, but it really wasn't on much. And this is another one where we have some really great moves that are going on, some really great variables within our prints, but I'm just didn't see as much as you would have expected. Now, 8:30, when we come right over here, you can see as we started popping up with 43.50, we definitely got some new buying. We have the buying pretty much to get back up to that 45. But you know what? I would love to see, based off of the amount of selling that we do have underneath, this be that actual push, and then them start to unload, which we're actually seeing right this second. You can see right above 43 and at 43. So going to be expecting at least back towards this print line, and then from there looking for a trigger back towards the downside based off of not only the covering, which tells us that they didn't expect, that much to come back in, and then this big new selling that's coming back in. One thing that you definitely want to keep in mind, though, is that LK has been showing to get bullied in the beginning of the morning, and then it kind of comes back once we get, to face about 10:30 once things start to slow down. So keep an eye on that and make sure that you have that game plan in your mind, because once it starts to get bullied, it's pretty obvious. It's been a really great trade for us those past few days. So based off this new selling that we just came in towards these lows, definitely like what I'm seeing, definitely like back towards that downside. And that huge buying that we saw, I mean, it made 47. That's a real big jump. I didn't see as many people get out as you would have expected to until it came down to this 43. So overall, it's definitely showing the money flow coming in right now being that selling side of things. Don't need more for the list, but CGC has been active. It absolutely has. CGC has been really good. It's just not really doing much right this second, but once the market opens, I'll expect it to start giving us some prints and do something. But right now we just have some better stuff on our list to be focusing on besides that. Just hasn't really shown anything yet this morning. I got screwed yesterday with my it was glitching. Unfortunately, part of the game. That happens unfortunately more often than we would like. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? That LK coffee. Now, all right, so remember, we have a bigger than usual list this morning. So really what we want to do is we want to focus on what's going to have the best show of hand and what really shows us the most coming up to the beginning of the market. One thing that you don't want to do, make sure that we're not jumping around all over the place. It is, when we have a lot of stocks on our list, we tend to have, that mindset where we're trying to watch all of them at once. Let's make sure we focus on that first show of hand and we execute from there. All right, guys, it's Friday, so obviously no afternoon meeting. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.